And so you guys are on tour right now. You're on the road with Kiss and Def Leppard. This just continues pretty much just the awesome summer you guys have had. You did the tour. You were on the road with Leonard Skinner Bad Company. Now you're out with Kiss and Def Leppard. Tell me a little bit about what this year has been like for you guys.
It's been awesome. We're just in the middle of this month of shows with Kiss and Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And the whole 2 month Bing Bam Boom is great. To play with these iconic bands and get the opportunity to play in front of their bands and play in a great band like the Dead Daisies is a great way to spend the summer.
Absolutely. Now you guys just released Face I Love, the new EP, and the single for the EP title track is outstanding, man. Tell me a little bit about creating that record, writing it, and how it came to be.
That was being received great. We're playing I think we're playing all 4 songs off of it live every night.
Awesome. Yeah, how have the crowds been? Because with the Dead Daisies, you guys came together from all different bands and stuff. And is it kind of weird going back and being the opener for a tour of this magnitude? And how have the crowds been on some of these shows?
They've all been great. I mean, I guess it could go the other way, of course, but the music's powerful rock music, and it's a pretty solid, cohesive band with a great singer, and we all are fairly experienced at what we do. So I think the reason we're all together is because it's working, and it works between us. So you just put that on stage, and hopefully it translates, and it has been, but yeah, you're definitely the underdog in a tour like this, Kiss, Def Leppard, I mean, these are huge bands, and people expect stuff from them, so when they know what to get from them, so with us, you just gotta kind of make sure you're doing your job, and hopefully the reaction's cool, but the cool thing is people are coming early, which is a key thing for us, even though, we're on, doors open around soon after. There's still a lot of people showing up. They're buying a ticket for an evening. An evening with two huge bands that probably most of them all grown up and listening to. So they get there early for the experience for the whole night. So it's great because we end up winning because of that, because they want to get their money's worth out of a full show. So they get there early enough. For their rockers.
Awesome. Now you mentioned earlier you came into the band last year. How did you come to join the band, and how did that come about?
I've been friends with a couple of the guys in the band for years. Mainly Dizzy Reed, the keyboard, he's done road,
right?
And we have done over the years done some club jams, gigs together and all that. And when they needed somebody to take over for the last few shows, the outdoor tour they were doing, which went September last year, they had a week shows left, and he called me and basically taking the band the set, come up and sat the tour bus, went through the song together, jumped on stage and went for it, and that was really it. And we had a good week. That's how it started. It was that simple, and that's how a lot of people started. And I guess the band, or people get involved, one person that said go. And then this year they called me to go to Australia with them in February, but I had already had some stuff going on, so the next opportunity was this summer, and that worked out great.
Awesome. So, what are we looking at for the Dead Daisies? I know the EP just released. Is there any plans for like maybe a full length release, maybe this year or next year or anything like that? Are you guys writing for anything else?
Yeah, I don't know about a full length thing, just because it's summer. The EP just came out, but I know that there's talk of us getting together again for some touring, before the end of the year. And usually what happens is they want to include writing and recording in that. So, which I would be a part of, and And these days, I don't know, man. It's a little hit or miss with releasing an entire record.
Yeah.
Through EPs and singles and different ways of getting attention. I love the idea of a full-length LP. I grew up on that, and it always, felt worth it to me. You get into a band, and they have, more to offer than one song or a few songs, but times are changing and stuff, so, an EP makes sense, too. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do another EP, and it's an interesting band, but it's didn't come together, I guess, in a normal sort of way or whatever, and there's just so many different ways to try and get attention and work on yourself and all that. So I think with the EP out now,
right.
Make it go that way again to another EP.
Right. It is definitely a different sound than what we're used to hearing from pretty much anybody in the band. It is really cool to see you guys branching out, going kind of in a different direction musically, because so many people will form another band and it sounds just like everything else they've ever done. Is it important to venture out, especially for you guys, in different directions musically to keep it fresh?
Well, yeah, I don't. You'd have to ask other guys about what they think about this style compared to other styles. But to me, it's just loud rock and roll, and with great musicians. And I wasn't familiar with it until I got the call. I had actually heard about them because just other people saying, "Oh, this is a new band with you guys." And I was, I knew Dizzy was involved, and Marco was on bass, and Marco a long time. So I knew if these guys are all doing something together, and of course, Richard Fortis, and well, they almost be getting together for some reason, that's working.
Right.
And, but it's loud rock and roll. The great singer, John Stevens, is, badass singer, and, veteran in his own right. If you're not familiar with him in the States, with Boston down Australia, he's done a lot of stuff, but, he's just got that natural killer voice you heard once ago. Yeah. His voice, yeah. But, to me, it's just like, not so much out of the style of, I guess, loud rock, whether that's Whitesnake or Guns N' Roses or, Warner or Thin Lizzy or, whatever. It's like it's all loud guitars, hopefully catchy songs, hopefully cool drum beats.
Right. Man, and with you, there's so many things that you are involved in. Obviously there's the Dead Daisies, outstanding band. You're also doing a project with George Lynch and Michael Sweet and a couple guys, and which was just announced not too long ago. A snippet of the first single, Time Will Tell. Can you talk a little bit about that project and how things are coming along with that?
With the Michael Sweet and George Lynch thing?
Yeah, how are things coming along with that? Is that something that you can talk about at all?
Well, yeah, totally. It was, I had met Michael a couple years ago, and I was playing with George Lynch and Lynch, big Striper and Queen Striper on the day. That's why I met Michael. And a little while later, he wrote me that he did something with George and wanted to put the thing together. And, he had mentioned James and Men's on bass, and I said, James is one of my best friends, that's a killer. And that was sometime last year, which was wild, about a year ago. And we did the track it this year, and really it was a writing collaboration between George and Michael, and well, it almost sounds like I said George Michael. Michael, yeah, he's in the background. But yeah, we tracked all the rhythm tracks in March or something, or February, and it's all finished and it's coming out soon. But it's really about scheduling. We've all got a few things going on. John Fogerty, got to schedule this stuff, like this kind of thing. Striper and the bands and Lynch, working on some Lynch Mob stuff and some stuff that's really here and so it's like there's definitely talk. I don't I hope that the records come out with. But, you know, it's one of the things that it's all lines up and do something together and have some fun doing it. And there you go. You know, I don't think that would be next year.
Right.
But we'll see. But yeah, it's great stuff. I mean, it's a nice foundation, and the record sounds great. It's done real organically. It's really, I mean, you can tell George whenever George playing Michael, and they got, you know, I was really happy with James Lamento, one of my favorite bass players. He's probably the most young bass player in the Chocolate Whistle, which if you're not used to that sound of that style in a certain band, it can maybe, you know, maybe some people wouldn't really get it. Sure, it's Michael was just said, hey, do what you guys do, sound how you sound, and get it recorded.
Awesome, man. You guys are hitting Klipsch Music Center here in Noblesville, Indiana next Friday. It's crazy that the show's already coming up. It's going to be a great show. Dead Daisies, Def Leppard, and Kiss. It's a package tour that everybody has got to check out.
Oh, totally. I watched. It's for me. Kiss was the first band I got into as a kid. I mean, literally, those are my rock Bible. Those records are my rock Bibles, my rock and roll drumming Bibles. Peter Criss is my first drum hero. The whole thing. I mean, I got to tell Paul Stanley this, which means a lot to me because, you know, I was an 11-year-old kid who got birthday Kiss concert tickets as my birthday gift in 1979 from my dad. He took me to Madison Square Garden to see the Dynasty tour. That was my first rock concert. And it changed my life, and I was literally, you know, we had seats that I, you know, what you call the nosebleed seats. We were way up there. But I was kind of on the side of the stage way up high, and I'm just sitting there tripping out when the show started. I couldn't believe I was in the same room. Yeah, I call it a room. It's Madison Square Garden.
Right.
And I was in the same venue, the same place, the same room as, you know, Gene, Peter, and Paul. I was tripping out. So it was, you know, Paul loves hearing those stories because if you know anything about, you know, him or read his book or whatever, it's, you know, he wasn't born, you know, a rock star that just, you know, it was handed to him. The guy worked his ass off and to get where he got. So I know he loves hearing, you know, that it had an effect on people. And I was, you know, yeah, that was it for me. It was a done deal. So it's real cool. The show is killer. You can't deny, you know, the mightiness of a Kiss show. I was out at the front of the house at the last show we did with him, and I just watched the whole show from the front. It's just, you know, amazing how they started all that stuff, and you know, the leaders in that style show. It's just, you know, the biggest rock party you could have, you know.
Right, and you get to see it every night. I mean, the best seat in the house.
We stand. Yeah, sometimes we have to leave a little early or whatever, and you know, not taking anything away from Def Leppard. I did when I was in Curly Idol, we did 2008. We did a run with Def Leppard, and they're you know, they're also awesome. And they're another band I grew up on in high school. You know what I mean? You know, I used to practice the High and Dry and Pyromania, practice for both records. But yeah, they're a killer band. Great, huge songs, and it's a great live band. You know, it's great. So the combination of the two bands is killer.